Yes.
Since the second one is going to just ask for a continuance, do we want to like move it forward and let them go?
I'm gonna say no, because I don't know who's here for
Just ask for a continuance. Do we want to like
for the first one?
that's it forward and you're back on?
It would make sense, but the posted time.
I don't know who's here for the
continuance. Oh,
got an echo going on or something.
we do. Yeah, at 7:15 we can pause the current hearing and just open it up and let them continue and leave. So we're at the posted time, so no one feels. I'd hate to have them wait here until however long to continue something.
Why don't we see how the first one is progressing? I mean, I think there is probably a fair amount to present there, but I think that's a good suggestion. If we've got an opportunity there to just let them, if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah. Didn't we get that letter saying that that was their plan?
Yeah.
Okay. We are all set on YouTube. David, if you want to call to order.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, good evening. I'm calling to order the Southborough Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on January 18th, 2023. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16th, 2021. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. So with that, the first item we have on the agenda is 35 Pine Hill Road, Alfred Hamilton and Diana Wainrib for a variance. Do you have the application to read?
Yeah, you want me to read the legal notice?
The legal notice, thank you.
Yeah. All right. The Board of Appeals of the Town of Southborough will hold a public hearing via a virtual Zoom meeting Wednesday, January 18th, 2023 at 7 p.m. with regard to the petition of Alfred Hamilton and Diana Wainrib, 35 Pine Hill Road, Southborough, Mass, map 79, lot 15. The petitioner is seeking a variance to allow construction of a garage that will encroach upon the 35-foot required other street setback. The property is located in the Residence A zoning district. Relief is requested under section 174-8.2 D3D and section 174 8.2 D3C.
All right, and
I will move him over.
do we? Yeah, so we have somebody ready to make a presentation on behalf of the applicant.
Yeah, he's just loading over. There they are.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, excellent. My name's Al Hamilton, and this is my charming wife, Diana. And together, we manage a open space parcel on Pine Hill Road that runs about 25 acres. And on that, we also maintain the Pine Hill Meadow Victory Garden, where we raise vegetables that we then donate to food pantries, including about 900 pounds this year to the Southborough Food Pantry. As a consequence of maintaining this parcel, I own a whole bunch of equipment, which is my hobby. I own tractors and brush hogs and big cultivators and the likes, and I need a place to keep it, to be frank. When we moved into the house in 1996, Angelica Lane, which borders our property on the south, did not exist. And as a consequence, we would have been subject to a 25-foot side setback requirement. In the early 2000s, Angelica Lane was built, and I acquired a 10-foot strip along Angelica Lane from the developer. And but at the same time, after substantial discussions with Ms. Lavoie, it appears I also had imposed on me a 35-foot other street restriction. So things changed, or rather they changed, but they didn't change because I acquired an extra 10 feet, but I was subject to an extra 10 feet of restriction. The long and the short of it is that what we would appreciate a variance to allow us to build a garage. The garage will run about 8 feet over the 35-foot line. And I think I provided you guys with pictures of basically where it's going. We have substantial neighborhood support. The meadow and the Victory Garden are neighborhood activities. And I think you have letters from a number of the abutters asking you to approve it. So that's really kind of in a nutshell, what we're asking for is we're asking to essentially be subject to a 25-foot other street setback requirement. And that's based on a structure requirement, which is the structure is Angelica Lane.
Mr. Hamilton, could you just explain briefly, there's something about you had some issues with the way it's measured, like where that setback is being measured. Can you just clarify a little bit there?
I went back and forth with Ms. Lavoie because the other street setback says setback from the street. And as opposed to, so the street, if I was subject to the street, that is the physical macadam, I'd actually be fine because there's about an 8 to 10 foot buffer strip, which has trees, which is, the traditional right of way.
Okay.
So, but, I believe Ms. Lavoie's characterization is that that's not how it's typically measured. So, I gave up at that point and said, all right, I'm just going to try to ask for a variance.
Well, out of curiosity, where is it being measured from if it's not from the street?
It's being measured from the edge of my property effectively. So that my property abuts the right of way, and then there's about 10 feet between the edge of the right of way and the macadam. The pavement. The pavement.
The pavement. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I used an old word.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I look at it and I'm not sure I completely understand. I read that there was some contesting about exactly where to measure. I'm just trying to understand that a little bit better.
Well, so the zoning law says street, and I guess you could debate what a street is, but I don't want to get into a lengthy legal debate and hire lawyers. I just want to build a garage.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, if you don't have anything else then at this moment to present, I can open it up to some of the members to ask questions.
Sure.
Doris, do you want to go first? Do you have a question? Craig's raising his hand. Yes, Craig?
Okay. Oh, okay. You go, Craig.
Who owns the road? Is that a town road or is that a private road?
It's a town road. The town accepted it.
Okay.
And it is Angelica, correct?
Yeah, it's Angelica Lane.
Okay. And do they also own the right of way, the space between the macadam, as you say, in your lot line? Or do they just own?
Yeah, it's just like any other town parcel. You don't typically own the first 10 or 15 feet of your front yard because it's right of way, which is owned by the town.
Okay. And all right. And we really don't measure it from like the street itself. That seems odd.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of communities measure it from like the middle of the road. Sometimes.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
So sorry, Craig, to interrupt, but so you have your property, you have the macadam, And then you have Angelica, is that how? it
Well, no,
lines
so
up?
the pavement, so you have, my property is here. Then
Yeah.
there is a strip of dirt with trees and grass,
Okay,
and then there is the pavement.
The
Okay.
street.
And
the
and
street,
the
there's no
strip with the
sidewalk
trees
there.
and grass is owned by the town, just like in any other
Okay.
road. It's,
But by the pavement, you mean the street, there's no
Yeah.
sidewalk or.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig, go ahead.
And then there's a structure in the back. What structure is that? That's on the plot plan that you provided? It looks like it's yours and it encroaches in there as well.
there's a shed that was there when I bought the house 26 years ago.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I just don't, I'm with you. I don't understand that. Anyways,
Those are my
Correct.
questions.
I've
Okay.
driven by the property. The shed is small, and I'm sure it's a much different frontage to the next property line on the shed. I don't think the shed's an issue. I had a question just for clarity, Mr. Hamilton.
Sure.
Thanks for presenting all the supporting material. I do appreciate that a lot. Back when you bought the house and then subsequently, I guess in 2004, certainly correct me, is you bought the strip of land when or the early 2000s, you bought the strip of land when they developed Angelica Lane. And you mentioned that, this is aside from our measurement question, that it was only 25 feet. Did I read that correctly?
So when
It
I
was
bought the
only-
house,
Yeah, I
Angelica
mean,
Lane didn't exist. And so I was subject to a
Sure.
25-foot side setback requirement.
That's how I read the application.
And then I acquired the strip of land next to the town's right of way and the Angelica Lane.
Okay.
And frankly, I thought I would still be subject to the 25-foot side setback requirement. And
Yeah, I'm trying to hear that side of it through, sure.
yeah, but now it turns out that I only discovered I'm subject to a 35-foot other street requirement because Angelica Lane is a street.
You know, it's an interesting street, because I did go down there. It's a particularly narrow street. I don't know if the other members have recently taken a ride down there. But it's just a street that's going to just have those several properties on it.
Right, it's a
Yeah.
street that goes down to a cul-de-sac with 4 houses.
That's it, right?
That, yeah,
And you'd also mentioned the application and looking at, there's really no other place to put it. I just from a sideline, I agree with that. It's wetland behind your home.
yeah,
and
that's
has
correct, yeah.
And it grades down steeply. But with
Yeah.
that said, once you put this addition on, it'll be pretty close to the road. With that said, it's gonna be.
Well,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
it'll be 28 feet from the right of way. We use the proper term, whatever you want to call it, yeah, yes, it's, it's
It's
shielded
close to
by
the
a
road.
line of trees and a hedge of, what is it, forsythia?
Yeah, no, I saw there's a hedge there, a forsythia, right? Just the road itself is narrow. I don't know. I found that
Yeah.
unusually narrow road. That's my questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
If I want to defer to Mike or Paul.
David,
Paul,
really quick, sorry,
Yeah.
would it be helpful for you guys if I shared the plot plan from the
Please.
application?
Yes, it
Okay.
would.
Give me
Oh, thank you.
1 second. There we go. Can you guys see that?
oh, that's much clearer. Yeah, the
Yeah.
one, the PDF that I have,
Oh, yeah, that
really
is
hard,
better.
really
I know,
hard.
I was looking at the one that was scanned in and I was like, the numbers are pretty blurry, so. There's that.
Oh, so, yeah, so that shows in a different sort of shading of gray. That's
Yep.
where you're proposing that third bay.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Right here.
And so, so the line where the number goes to, Mr. Hamilton, that line is not the edge of Angelica Lane, but the edge of the right of way?
Well, it's not the edge of the pavement. It
Right.
is the edge of the right of way.
Okay, got it. All right, thank you. Sorry that's taken me so long to figure that out, but I appreciate your patience.
And the shed, again, I know you were touching on this. I was looking at my zoning manual. The shed is also yours and is pre-existing, correct?
Yeah, it was there when we bought the house.
I thought so. I went by the property, but it was just one of those things. I wanted to make sure that that was yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So I know this isn't a, there's no issue with the shed where it is, but it looks like the shed already creates a side setback variance just by being grandfathered. Because it looks like it's within 10 feet of the property line.
Yeah, but we're adding to the
But there's no road there.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
we're
adding
not
to the
necessarily
non-
adding to it because we're not making it any worse.
It is not making it worse, it's true. But
That was the point I was trying to make.
No, I see. I know what you're saying.
okay,
But it's
It'd be
10
one thing if we were expanding the shed and that was further encroaching, and so we're adding to an additional, to the existing nonconformity, whereas this is, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
Paul, did you have anything you wanted to ask, Paul?
No, I don't actually have any questions. I follow and see what's going on here and what's being requested, so.
Okay. Sorry, Mike, I don't know did you have more that you wanted?
No,
to add?
everything's been kind of touched upon. I used to live on Pine Hill Road, so it was nice to go back to this area. But no, I took a look at everything. I don't have any questions at the time. Thank you.
Okay. Laura, do we have anybody else who wants to, from the public who wants to comment or ask questions?
No, I'm not seeing any.
Okay. And as Mr. Hamilton stated, and as we all saw, you actually have, I believe it's maybe 4 letters that are in support of the project. So we can clearly, take the view that the abutters are not having a problem with it. If anything, they're in favor of it. So, and I don't really have any additional questions to ask beyond what I asked already. I think the rest of the board has done a good job asking questions regarding this application. So how do we feel? Are we ready to close the public meeting and discuss, or how does everybody feel?
I mean, I have no other comments, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing with a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Mike?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Doris?
Aye.
And Craig?
aye.
And Williams, aye as well. So, okay, that would close the public part of the meeting. I don't know as a board that we have more we need to really talk about. I think we understand pretty clearly the boundary issues that Mr. Hamilton brought forward. Doesn't seem like we have some serious concerns here. So
I'm happy to make a motion if people are ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right.
Ready.
Having found that there is a structural hardship in the creation of a new road that wasn't there when they originally bought the lot, and that by allowing an encroachment into the side setback as shown in the plot plan delivered, I would move to approve the variance request for Mr. Hamilton and Ms. Weinrib.
I'll second the approval of that.
okay, we've got a motion to approve the application as written and a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Paul?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Doris,
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
All right, Williams, aye as well. The application is approved. Congratulations and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate your
you.
time.
Night.
Good night.
Night,
Good
Al.
night. Thank you.
Good night, Al.
Okay. So the second item we have on the agenda is 15 Main Street. Laura, do you want to read that posting as well?
Yes. The Board of Appeals of the Town of Southborough will hold a public hearing via a virtual Zoom meeting Wednesday, January 18th, 2023 at 7:15 p.m. with regard to the petitions of Karen Cannell, 15 Main Street, Southborough, Mass, map 54, lot 28. The petitioner is seeking a special permit to allow an accessory apartment. The property is located in the residential A district. Relief is requested under section 174-8.2 and section 174-19.
Thank you. And do we have somebody for the applicant?
We do. The lawyer for the applicant, Joel, is here, and I am moving him over.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yep, we can. Thank you.
So we initially were planning to withdraw. We do not want to withdraw this application. We submitted a letter. Apologize for being last minute, but late yesterday, and we would like to continue the hearing. We had another round of discussions this morning with town council and with staff, and we believe we have a path forward here that will work, seeking a special permit for an alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming use, but we need to amend the plans. So you may have an opinion from town council coming, I'm not sure, but in any event, we would like to continue so we can amend those plans and then supplement the package with those plans and an amended narrative.
So are you requesting a continuance to a meeting in about a month's time in February then?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Craig, I don't think we need to necessarily do anything, right? I mean, I don't think we have a problem with that. It's just he needs to make that request. You're on mute.
Gosh darn it, I try to be. I think we need to vote to accept the continuance. So he needs to
Okay.
request it with a date and a time for the hearing, and then we vote to accept.
Okay. Laura, what do we have on the calendar for our next meeting?
15 Main Street was the only application, so whatever time.
I'm sorry, what the date?
Oh, for the date, I'm so sorry. February 15th.
Okay, all right. So the request is to continue the hearing for a month till February 15th. I think we just need to take a vote here. So all in favor, respond with aye. Doris?
Aye.
Craig?
Do we need to make a motion? to
I think,
accept
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Point of order.
Okay.
So I'll make a-
Mr.
a
Quick,
mo-
are you okay with the 15th at 7?
Yes, the 15th is, yes. Thank you.
At that time, that works for you too?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I'll make a motion to accept the continuance to February 15th. If I said that right.
I'll second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the continuation to the 15th with a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Against, nay. Doris?
Aye.
Craig?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Williams, aye as well. Okay, thanks everybody. So we'll continue that and we'll pick it up again on February the 15th at 7
Just
p.m.
as a question, usually when we continue, is there a signed thing where we continue, or is that just the extension of a time frame? I want to make sure we we document it correctly, and if Mr. Quick has to stop by and see Laura for a signed continuance.
We're happy to do that.
Okay, Laura, can you get in touch with Mr. Quick if that's required?
Absolutely. I don't believe they're extending any timeframes.
Okay.
So I don't think any waivers need to be signed, but I will double check if we need a formal signature. And I will touch base with you, Joel.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I think that's it. There is no need for any discussion or public comment since we're continuing it.
Correct.
All right, thank you, Mr. Quick.
Thank you.
Okay, we had a couple other items on the agenda. Is the next one the meeting minutes?
It is. And I actually have a correction on my own minutes if I can.
Okay,
I forgot to add in the motion to adjourn at the very end. So I have already added that in, but don't know how I missed it.
okay. I'm not sure I actually got through all those. What about anybody other? Does anybody else on the board have an issue with the minutes from the prior meeting? That would have been November, correct?
November 16th. Yeah.
I was not present, so I'll abstain from whatever discussion.
Yeah,
I'm good with
okay.
everything.
All right, Mike.
I'm checking these over. Oddly.
Yeah. I'm not sure I got all the way through. I hate to admit that. But. Doris, did you have any concerns?
No, but no, I do not.
Or was it that quick? All right, yeah. It'd be pretty hard to have some issue here with that.
Yeah, there's nothing, not that there's.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Yeah, that's
No.
what, okay, just,
So I think we need to
Yep.
move to approve the minutes as Laura has amended them.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as, the meeting minutes as amended.
I'll second.
All right, we have a meeting to approve with a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Against, nay. Doris,
aye.
Greg,
Abstain.
Paul,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. All right, that's 4 in favor, 1 abstain. Okay, the next item of business is Laura, you have updates on the forms
Yeah.
for
I do.
special permits and variances.
So the goal for revising them, and you guys feel free to chime in with feedback on any of it. The goal was to kind of provide a little bit more clarity for both us and the applicants on what specific paperwork is required, what specific information is required, if they need to get any further comments or recommendations from other boards, like in the case of an accessory apartment, they have to get recommendations from the planning board and Board of Health. So what I did, and I know I sent you guys a ton of information, so I'm sorry. I revised the application instructions, and then in talking with Lori about applications, we kind of came up with the idea of doing a general application for special permits, variances, and appeals that would cover the vast majority of applications, and then a separate application for accessory apartments and another one for non-conforming uses and structures, because those two tend to be the ones where things may get missed. So I kind of, it's a mashup of our current applications, and I also referenced the ones from other like surrounding towns.
Okay.
Just ones that I found that seemed really clear in exactly what was expected and the information that was required. The other goal for this is to then take whatever we land on, whether it's using the ones that we currently have or some version of a revised one, to make it so that applicants can submit an electronic copy via Viewpoint to
Okay.
our department. So the thought, I spoke with Jim Hegarty about the process with filing with the town clerk. So the thought process now is that the applicant would still file a hard copy with the town clerk and then submit an electronic copy via Viewpoint to me. And it's kind of broken down into the different attachments that they would need, the plot plans, the building elevations, whatever it might be. Because right now, I mean, realistically, they submit several copies of a application and they just kind of sit in a folder. I scan them in and I email them to you. So trying to cut out some of that excess work.
Right. Right. Okay. And the way you've got it broken up, is that what you found in some other towns, how it's broken up by accessory apartments, non-conforming use?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So one of the towns that I was looking at was Concord, because they have them broken out like this. They also have an additional one for floodplain, which, I mean, down the line, if this is something we decide we want to do, I can do that as well, but they're not very common. So I thought I would focus more on the ones that we see all the time.
I mean, that seems logical to me. Has anybody looked at these closely? Do they have any questions or comments on the way that Laura's proposing these things be broken up and sort of repackaged?
Just looking through these as we're talking.
Yeah,
Anything just kind of jumps off the pages.
well, I wouldn't encourage us to sort of jump in. It sounds like there is a fair amount of changes here, and I apologize for not having spent more time with it. Doris, did you have a chance to take a close look at this?
I don't mind. I don't do this job. So if other towns feel as though the breakup streamlines the process, because there's a little bit more diligence on some applications you're going to need than other applications, I'm for that.
Yep.
What I do have a comment is more of a broad comment. And Laura, I'd written you a couple of weeks ago, was incomplete applications.
Mhm.
The tendency for applicants to say see attached and fully ignore the fact, please put a summary in. I really like this. I really like application lead. I call it a lead sheet. I like lead sheets, and a lot of our applicants don't fill the form out. So it's more of a broader comment, and and we take the meeting. Sometimes we take the meeting, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
A lot of see attached. It's nice to have a summary.
Yeah, I would think it would be in the applicant's best, in their interest to sort of say, this is what I'm asking for. This is a summary of it, and here's the related information.
So my comment, So my comment is, I wouldn't want to necessarily reject, because they'll often have the attachments, but it's led to confusion where it was so confusing. And the attachments, they said redo the form. So maybe there's Laura, what I'm saying is a stopgap. You got to fill this out. I don't know I don't know who the gatekeeper on that is.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did put in there to address some of that is a building commissioner review step, so that the applicant would bring the application to the building commissioner and they would sign off to say, this is a completed application. The tricky thing, and I learned this in speaking with the town clerk, is that if somebody brings an application to the town clerk, they have to accept it and they have to file it as presented. So as much as he encourages people to have Lori review applications, I felt like putting a sign off on the application form itself would kind of encourage people to do that a little bit more, and hopefully we would receive less incomplete applications.
I agree with Jim, though. The challenge is like you can just see somebody being like, yeah, Lori was mean to me. I couldn't deal with her. She wouldn't sign off on it. Like,
Yep.
if you want to submit an incomplete application, that's I do feel like that's if they want to pay the $150 fee and a couple scribbles and a handwritten note, okay.
Right. I mean, it's within their right to do so. They just may not get what they're looking for.
As long as it's
Yeah.
not a requirement, that's all.
Right. Because I was going to say, I mean, I think you got to be careful about what is required legally. I don't know that we can say that it's required that she sign off on it, but
We can't, but we can strongly
You can-
encourage.
right. Okay.
Can we advise people that, if before the meeting we find that the application is incomplete, that we will open the meeting on time because we're required to do so, lest have a constructive approval,
Mhm.
continue the meeting until all applications are received.
Yeah, we have the right to do that.
I think that, so to kind of segue with that, is as I was doing this, I realized that there are no posted rules and regulations for the board. And I had found in a filing cabinet ones from 2007. So I started to put ones together, and I just finished them on Tuesday.
Actually, I think we have rules and regulations.
Yeah, I thought we,
I
And
could
we-
not
we-
find them.
Updated them since I've been on the board.
yeah, I was going to say, I thought we.
Yeah, Andrew and I spent some time with Aldo, the previous town council, and updated the rules and regs for the board.
Okay. Do you know where those are?
Yeah.
That is a totally different question.
Yeah. So as far as I can tell, like they're not posted on like
No,
the
they're just
ZBA website.
they're basically private, in terms of like the role of the clerk and the role of the chair, and it's pretty generic actually.
Yeah.
So where are they? I mean, were those given to the town clerk, or does Andrew have them, or do you?
That was a job in many computers ago. So let me see what I can find.
I mean, if they were adopted by the board, they should be on file with the town clerk. So I can double check with Jim and Amy and see if they have them.
Yeah, the trick is our rules and regulations, they're not part of the town code. That's the thing. So
Right.
it doesn't necessarily go to the clerk because it's not going to be part of the code.
But they need to be somewhere.
Well, they were part of a meeting. So, at some point in time, they were presented, discussed, and approved in a meeting by us.
Well, let me ask this question. Do other boards in town have their the rules and regulations posted somewhere that you have access to? Why don't we try to follow what if there's a de facto standard?
Yeah. I mean, I know the select board has various policies that they have posted.
Hmm.
But those are more like townwide. Let's see. Some surrounding towns do have specific rules and regulations for the ZBA. I know the town of Wayland has ones that are pretty clear.
Okay. I mean, the first thing I'm curious about is where they belong, where they should be. Because I think Craig is right. It's not code. It's just more, this is how the ZBA operates. But it should be someplace.
What could go wrong?
Well, I think we're lost in the woods. Okay, wait a second.
I got your rules right here.
Okay, so how do we go? So we have procedures. I don't know if you necessarily consider rules. We have procedures our administrative procedures aren't public information?
No, I mean, there are, on the existing application instructions, there are like breakdowns of, you know, town responsibilities when it comes to applications. You know, I don't know
You
if
know,
you guys
well,
want more
well,
than that, like,
my only concern is that we have latitude to reject an incomplete application. I just want every possibility that they can fairly fill it out. So
Well-
it's understood. That's it. So I mean, we can.
Well, it's not
reject
that we
it,
would reject it because
Not
we
reject,
would have a
continue.
hearing and just say, hey, we're gonna deny this. and
We're gonna,
see you
yeah,
later.
we recommend that we continue this because we
That's,
don't have
exactly.
all
That's
we need.
so sometimes I'm not too much into too many, if it's not in the code, too many written rules when, there's a
No,
lot of
yeah.
disruption,
So,
like-
so if we go.
because then
if we
they get
back-
lost, then they get
Yeah.
lost. They're just,
but-
they're not disrespectfully at all. It's just, they're not code, so.
Right, they're not, but I just think we should be consistent with where they're located. Okay, so regarding the.
Sorry, it's not funny.
no,
It is.
Sorry.
It's
but-
funny, what
but re-
rules? Like,
But regarding the changes that Laura's proposing, I mean, I'm gonna say I would like to look at them a little bit further. I don't think we need to take action tonight. I think they look very good. I think that looks like it's really good work, but I would like to take a little bit more time. I don't know, Paul, I don't know if you had any comments on it or.
I know we've discussed this in the past with, various different people in that have been in Laura's position. And I'm sort of all in favor of whatever makes Laura, your job better and easier to, and if it's something you want to implement that's gonna help that, because you're looking at this and seeing this every day. And if it makes sense, then I think it should be, listened to and maybe, implemented.
Okay,
Yeah, to
All
me,
right, so-
when I see this, I look at the checklist. To me, reality is we really want to try to make this as simple for the residents as well. So they're able to,
right.
okay,
communication without too much drama on their end.
Yeah,
Okay,
like I
okay.
said, I think it looks, it's clean and you, like you said, Mike, if it makes it simpler for people who are, filing applications, then yeah, I'm in favor of it. Go ahead,
So-
Doris.
okay, so I read this, I'm reading this edition, just, I'm not a lawyer, we got other lawyers on this call. It says, in this building commissioner review signatory line, the application, all supporting documentation should be, okay, I'm cool with that, be reviewed by the building commissioner prior to filing with town clerk. Please drop off your application, supporting documentation. But then it goes on to say at the very last sentence, maybe we don't want to say incomplete applications will not be signed by the building commissioner. It sounds like they're authoritative that this application can be submitted. So, I mean, it'd be nice. So it really is nice that they sign it, but it leads you to believe they have to sign it. That's what I think. Maybe just slightly, whatever the real world is, we should say it and not make it look like the building commissioner has the say on this.
But it's not saying that they have to. I think the way it's been worded is to avoid project delays, it should be reviewed. And if it's incomplete, she's not going to sign it. So I actually think it's reasonably straightforward, but again, I think we should probably, I'm in favor of taking a little bit of time to look at it. Look at it closer offline. There's quite a bit here. I don't know how if anybody else has something they'd like to discuss further about the changed forms.
I don't at this time.
Craig, you good with a review and then taking a closer look before the next meeting?
Yeah, I definitely am. And I mean, quite honestly, I think the farms are far easier to follow just in the new format than
Yeah.
it was before. I mean, I like the look.
Yeah, I
Very
would agree.
aesthetically pleasing and seems to be easy for us to understand which boxes have been checked and not. And Doris, it does have a checkbox for a project narrative, which is your lead sheet. So
Yeah, just please don't make me run to it's like 10 pages in the back. But sure, yeah, I like the form. A lot of effort's gone into the form itself. It's just we got down this path of incompleteness where we want to communicate to fill the form out. David, it sounds fine to give it more a closer look, and we could put it off to the next meeting. It's fine with me.
Okay.
Because I'm really just reading that aspect. Because I hadn't had further discussions with Lara since maybe a few weeks ago on the incomplete question. Maybe
Right.
this will tidy it up. Maybe.
Okay. Maybe. Can always hope.
Yeah, can always hope.
I can always hope. All right. Before we adjourn right now for the next meeting, Laura, is the only thing we have 15 Main Street?
That is the only thing that's on the agenda as of right now. Yep.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
and will be because the deadline for applications has passed. So.
Right.
That should be
Right.
it.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wanted to bring up for discussion this evening?
Are we expecting, the petitioner referenced an opinion letter from town council? Are we expecting that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an interesting issue. I think I asked Laura to ask the town council some questions regarding, rights of the property owner when you take down an existing structure. And there's interesting history there, as you probably read already. So, and it sounds like the applicant, they have some interesting ways to go about that. They're taking, if you will, a two-pronged approach. But so I think we do want to have as much of that information available before the hearings as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Paul.
Oh no, he's frozen.
Not a good time to be frozen, Paul.
Paul,
Okay.
Most important motion.
No.
Is there a way in Zoom to sort of shake somebody else?
can you shake
No,
shake
I
his
hear
camera?
him. He's trying. Take a shot.
Okay now?
Go for it.
I'd like to make my motion.
I'm going to second that motion to adjourn.
I don't know what we just. All right.
All right, Craig, why don't you take over?
I'd like to make my motion to adjourn.
Oh, Paul's in there.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
Got
totally
it.
finished now.
Second.
Second. All right. Motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, say aye. Reply with aye. Against, nay. Doris?
Bye.
Craig?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Paul? Is that an aye?
I think you're just gonna,
You're good. Oh, I heard an aye.
I think I heard an aye.
I think
Williams,
so.
aye. Okay, thanks, everybody. That will close, that will adjourn the meeting. Have a good
See you
evening.
next month.